A family walks along a path. Like many others in extreme poverty, they are starting a very difficult journey to find a better life. As they travel, they will have little to protect themselves from wind, rain, floods, extreme heat, and drought. They will be in constant danger from flood paths, the scorching sun, and nearby fighting. One child gets sick, and the family will have to stop to care for their ailing one. Exhausted and nearing collapse, nearby villagers rush to their aid. The family is cared for, and life in the community is good, until drought and disease threaten the stability of the village. What seemed like a journey to safety now feels like a crushing cycle for the family and community. How does a family and community like this move from fragility to lasting resilience in the face of these hardships? And how should we in the development community respond? Historically, international aid has focused on meeting human needs through life-saving humanitarian interventions or long-term poverty reduction and economic growth strategies. Yet, what happens when there's a disaster, price shock, conflict, or global pandemic? All of the good work of development is disrupted, as are people's lives and livelihoods, like this family and community. COVID-19 is a perfect example of this, undercutting development gains, plunging millions back into poverty, threatening stability, exacerbating food crises, and overwhelming the capacity of already fragile health systems to tackle other disease outbreaks. To help fragile contexts and vulnerable populations as they face these compounding crises and risks, we need a new development approach. For communities to move from fragility to resilience, they must be able to meet their basic needs, but also better deal with complex and overlapping risks and crises, such as the illness, extreme weather, conflict, and economic hardship this family faced. By helping to build resilience to risks and crises in fragile contexts, international partners can better support individuals, communities, and governments to strengthen positive coping capacities. This involves helping support people's capacities to better absorb shocks and stress, such as through microinsurance, psychosocial support networks, and savings groups. People also need the capacity to adapt in the face of crises. This can be a farmer who has varied income sources in case her livelihood is disrupted by drought, or a social safety net that can help the poorest to weather difficult times. With varied income sources, the family we're following may not have needed to start on their journey to begin with. A resilience approach also involves transforming formal systems and institutions, like national social protection programs and health systems that can adapt during crises. With access to formal support during the drought, our family could have recovered, making the drought a temporary setback rather than a livelihood devastation. To promote these coping and transformative capacities for resilience, a development community must focus on social capital, which as evidence shows is the driver of resilience. This involves bonding within communities, which we saw with the family when the community took them in, bridging across communities, and linking between communities and formal institutions for more inclusive access to information, resources, and responsive action. Food for the Hungry has made resilience a central focus of its work with vulnerable communities, supporting social capital to promote their coping and transformative capacities in the most fragile places. Discover more about what FH has learned over its more than 50 years of strengthening resilience in fragile contexts.